Hey folks, welcome back to another Poem Master video, and today we're gonna, look at Elio and Primarina over here, right? So, Elio and Primarina, man, the more I use them, the more I don't like using them, unfortunately. It's just that, like, nothing really fully utilizes his kit that well, outside of, Lyra Puff, which is fine, but like outside of that, like just nothing really, again, just use him that well. Maybe in the future when we get some, other units that maybe could utilize the kit, but at the moment he just doesn't seem extremely useful, I guess. Is that the best term? But anyways, you can definitely still use him, right? It's just that like when you're using him, a lot of things you probably just won't be using, right? You're just wasting a lot of potential. Like there's so much potential in this unit. It's just that you just can't fully utilize it in a lot of scenarios. But anyways, let's get into this. So let's actually start out with Lucky Skill, right? Lucky Skill, obviously you want to go for Troublemaker, so you could get, again, we don't exactly know the accuracy at the moment, but it should be 90%. It's definitely not 100%, right? It's definitely not 100%. Again, Elio is the only unit in the game that can miss sleeps with Troublemaker 1, right? Which is slightly unfortunate. But it still has like a really decent accuracy, whether it be again 90 or even a bit lower. It's still not bad, right? So you definitely want Troublemaker 1 on that. Unless you really want to tank with Elio, then you can go with Vigilance, but why would you do that? Or I guess unless you're just out of like cookies, right? I guess you could Vigilance and tank with him instead. Although I'm not a huge fan of that. Just go with Troublemaker, right? Or also a 45% chance of landing a Sing. You better off not just better off just running a Lunatone instead, right? Because Lunatone does all the has X special defense, all has +4 attack, special attack, same thing. You just don't have the Sing, so you kind of have to run Troublemaker on Elio to make him more useful, right? So anyways, in terms of the sync grid, starting off at 1 out of 5, this is it pick up everything, gang? Is it? Let's see, are we picking up everything? The answer is yes, we can pick up everything. All right, just pick up everything. Moving on. 2 out of 5. 2 out of 5. You have some things, I guess. You have move gauge refresh and sparkling area. You get move gauge refresh 1 on Sing. You get bending, which is okay. Get MP refresh on X special defense all, obviously. Quick cure, you can pick that up. You could pick up sentry entry, but then you'd have to drop something like a quick cure or something, I guess. I mean, obviously, if you're not facing a stage that confuses traps or flinches you, then obviously you don't need quick cure. If you are, then you pick up quick cure and like drop bending. Unless you're facing a stage that both drops your defense and flinch trap confuses you, then I guess you pick them both up, which isn't super uncommon because Marshall or Bruno, they like to they have like a lot of defense crush units, or like rock smash to debuff your defenses, and then they also have like the sides that like rock slide you after you take out the mid. It's not like extremely uncommon. But yeah, you could decide between those. You could also get the We Got Tricks MP refresh 1, right? But like, first of all, it's only MP refresh 1, 20% chance. And usually you don't really need it. Like, it already gives you +4. Usually, 90% of the time, the unit you're supporting at least has +2, either attack or special attack, right? Or if not, then you could bring some other support to top that off, which is not difficult at all, right? Obviously, it does cost you a team slot, but outside of that. But yeah, or haste if you're facing something that, debuffs your speed, right? Stuff like that. But yeah, moving on to 3 out of 5. So here's where it gets complicated, because Elio has a very, very complicated kit. Elio has like a lot of things that Elio tries or is trying to do, that could do, right? And it really depends on what you're trying to run him with, right? Again, if you want to like fully utilize his kit and like run him with like Lyra Puff, obviously go ahead, pick up the speed buffs, which would be nice. Probably want to pick up mind games if you want to increase Lyra's sync damage. Defense crush if you want to increase Lyra's play rough damage, right? So you could do stuff like that. Or it doesn't have to be Lyra, just like, you know, any general unit that you want to be running Elio with. You could do stuff like that. Again, if they're physical, then you do defense crush. If they're special, then you do mind games, right? And if you do have mind games, I think you have enough to pick up X special defense. Yep, X special defense, all MP refresh. You could do that as well. And in some cases, again, I'm not a huge fan of Team Crit Nightmare 3, which has a 40% chance of raising the crit on all out sync pairs when an attack is successful against an opponent that is asleep. I'm not a huge fan of this because, first of all, it's just in terms of, it's more like, this just goes into like, it looks good on paper, right? It looks good on paper, but when you start thinking about it, right, in terms of the flow of the game, right, what are you gonna do when you have Elio out there? Turn 1, you're probably gonna we got tricks or sing, right? You either sing or we got tricks, right? And then second turn, you either go X special defense all or sing if you haven't sing this first turn. So like usually your first 3 turns are gonna be we got tricks, X special defense all, X special defense all, right? Or if you're stretching it, maybe sing sparkling area, and then we got tricks to get like potentially 1 proc on the crit buffs, which if you're buffing a sync pair that already has +2 crit built in, that's fine, right? And you hope, you know, you're just hoping for that 40% chance for that to proc. If you're not, if you're buffing, if you're trying to buff a unit that doesn't have any crit buffs at all, you're only getting like at max like +1 crit before you have to sync, right? If the sync pair you're trying to buff is not the one syncing turn 1, if you're, for example, if you're syncing with a support, or if you're syncing with Elio with the support EX first, then it would be a bit better, right? And then afterwards you could again sing sparkling area, and then hope you get all the rolls, because even if you just don't use X special defense all, and then all you do is sing sparkling area, we got tricks. So that's a 40% chance to proc it once before the first sync, right? And even best case scenario, you don't sync with your damage dealer, right? Or your sync or whatever, right? On your first sync, and then you wait till the second sync. So you have 40% chance for the first 3 turns to get +1 crit, and then afterwards you have to sing sparkling area, which then gets to your second sync, and by then you need your, the unit that you're syncing to be at max crit, right? And for that to happen, it is possible, but you have to get Team Crit Nightmare to trigger every single time, which it only has a 40% chance of triggering, right? And the chance of it not triggering is higher than the chance of it triggering, right? So it has to trigger 3 times, and that also assumes that the opponent doesn't wake up after one turn after sing, right? Have to be asleep for 2 turns, which again is also a big if, because a lot of units don't. A lot of units say you sing, you use a move, then they wake up, so they have to sing again. So the best case scenario, you have to be extremely, extremely lucky to make it so that the unit that you're syncing with gets +3 crit before their sync, right? So the only really, really great place, in my opinion, for using it is just if the sync pair that you're supporting already has +2 crit, and then you could top it off with that extra, +1 crit if you don't want to pick up MP refresh on that unit, right? Then you could do something like this, right? Or actually, you know what? I think this is probably better. Something like that, and move gauge refresh on sparkling area, right? Maybe something like this, right? If you want to run EX Elio, which you can with Team Syncure, if you're, again, running EX Elio and also you're fighting a stage that statuses you, then again, you could pick this. I mean, it just shows you like how many different builds Elio has for like different like scenarios, right? He has some very, very specific things for very specific scenarios, right? You could do something like that, and then mind games over here, right? Or if you're just using Elio as just a sleep spammer, you're not going to do anything with sparkling area, right? You're just spamming sleep, then just pick a move gauge refresh 1 with sing. Yeah, don't really need to do much else, right? if you're just trying to spam sleep, because like here's the thing with Elio, right? If you're trying to like use him like as a sleep unit, you'd have to like sleep your whole opponent's team for it to be, you know, the most effective, right? You can't have any of them awake, and if you know, if any of them is awake, then you're still taking damage, all that stuff. And if you're trying to sleep the whole team, then you just don't have any time to use Sparkling Arrow, because you sleep one, sleep the other, sleep the third one, and then the first one wakes up, they have to sleep them again, right? Just don't have any time to use any of these, which is the bulk of Elio's like kit, right? And it's just that like if you're using him as sleep units, there's just better sleep units. Obviously, Serena is much better. Agatha's probably better. Ramos might be better. A bunch of tech units that have sleep as well could potentially be better as well. Just as a solely sleep unit, which is why I am not a huge fan of just using Elio as like a sleep unit. Anyways, moving on, you could also do some damage with them if you want, right? You could do some damage. You could, you know, go pick up, where's it at? Good Nightmare 3 down here. Come up there, get that extra special attack plus 20. Sparkling Area, you can pick up Mind Games as well to debuff the opponent's special attack while you're at it, since, you know, Sparkling Area is special, right? Power Reserve you also take with him, I guess? I don't know. Because I don't think you have, yeah, you don't, you know, nowhere near enough. Sync power-ups maybe, or Sparkling Area power-ups. I guess you could do some damage to them. Obviously, he's probably one of the weaker damage dealers, water type, right? It's probably better than Barry. Maybe, right? I think I hope he's better than Barry in terms of dealing damage. But you know, generally you probably have better water type damages. But you know, in a lot of cases, you probably want to like still queue up moves with him as well, just to deal some the extra damage and also do, you know, all the other stuff. Although I personally prefer Elio doing all the other stuff than doing damage. But you can do damage if you really, really, really want to do with Elio. But anyways, I'm going over the team comps again. Elio just does like a lot of different things, so it's a lot of times like Elio, it's not who in terms you're supporting, it's like who in terms of like you're facing rather, right? To work the grid around. Obviously, like I mentioned before, Lyra Plus very, very great for this, because Lyra has both physical and special moves that you need to buff, and Lyra also needs the opponent to be asleep, which Elio does perfectly, right, for Lyra. But outside of Lyra, I mean, you could run Elio in like some rain team, again, make Sparkle Area also do some good chip damage while you're at it, right, with like a May, Sinks of Blue, or something like that. Or I've seen people saying running with Serena. You could do that. I'm just not a huge fan, because both are like really slow units overall, and sure, you could buff speed with Elio, but that takes a while, because again, this isn't, first of all, you know, it's only 50% every use, right? And then it's only +1 every time. It does proc. It does take a while, but yeah, that if you want, again, you can run it with Serena. It's just really, really slow. And in that case, I probably would have to. You'd have to bring in like a Sabrina, because like you can't even like use Sinks of Blue, right? If you're thinking about like speed, because like, the thing with Sinks of Blue is if you're running Sinks of Blue, the opponent is constantly asleep, so Sinks of Blue just never buffs your team's offensive stats, right? Which in that case, you're doing no damage. So you can't use Sinks of Blue because he's never going to get hit. So I guess your only option would be Sabrina, which buffs special attack, obviously. And also gives you speed. But then at that point, why run Elio at all? You could just run Sabrina plus Serena is the thing, right? It's, yeah, again, a lot of cases, just like Elio is like a solid unit that you can use in some places, but like a lot of times there just are like supports that can do his job but better, which is again the awkward part, right? But anyways, that's really this one, I guess. I hope you guys enjoyed. Let me guys think in the comments down below. Like this video, subscribe for some more Bowmasters content. See you guys in the next one.